My name's Anthony Allen, welcome here to my YouTube channel. This is lesson 7 of a 10-part series that I'm running here on the channel for Final Cut Pro 10 beginners, aka FCPX beginners and those that are new to the editing platform. And lesson 7 is coming up right after this intro. Hello there, my name's Anthony Allen and welcome here to part 7 of this 10-part tutorial for Final Cut Pro 10. In this lesson we'll be having a look at the effects and the effects panel. If you've missed any of the previous lessons, I do advise you go back and have a look at those, as there's some useful information that will drastically help you within Final Cut Pro 10, especially if you're a beginner. So, as you already know, we're here in our timeline. We have a narrative that we're trying to come across with, but it's not quite complete. There are different things that we can add to enhance the feeling and emotion we're trying to portray here. And we can do that with effects. So from the timeline, I want you to move all the way to your right. And where we was with the transitions in last lesson, I want you to move over one space to the left to the effects browser. Click this. This will open up the effects browser. Like mentioned in our previous lesson, there are different folders that categorize your type of effects, just like in the transitions browser. I want you to go on to all for now. Now, the type of transition that I'm looking for this narrative is something that makes the scene a little bit brighter and highlights the water from the waterfall. Let's go and have a look. Now we can actually go into the lights folder instead of searching. Let's do that now. Now I will show you how to search for a specific thing within a category. So we're looking for a specific effect within the category. And we're looking for glow. Although we can see it on screen right now, let's say that we couldn't. You now want to go down into the search and search for the word glow. Brilliant. You have now found the glow effect. In order to apply this to a clip, you can drag and drop it on your desired clip. As you may have noticed, there is now a render line above this clip, because you're making a serious change. Each change within your timeline that affects a piece of media will require a render. We're not yet on the rendering lesson, but we're getting closer. Hang tight. So you can actually change the look and feel of this effect instead of using its default. The way you populate the inspector window with your effect is first you select the clip in which the effect has been applied. Once you've done this, you can see in the inspector window there is the effects that have been applied. You can now change this accordingly. So if we turn the glow all the way down, in fact, let me undo that so you can see it in action. We're going to move the playhead on top of the clip so you can see the preview at hand. Let's turn the glow all the way down. You can see that the highlights and even some of the shadows are now not glowing. If we put it halfway, that is half of the effect being applied, which I think looks brilliant. And if we turn it all the way up, it's really peaking those highlights within the shot. Let's put this halfway. Different types of effects will have different controls within the inspector window. Let's look for another effect. So we're going to go all the way up to all video effects, as there are video and audio effects. Searching for an effect while both video and audio effects are selected will also have you look for audio effects. For example, if I type limiter, this is now what an audio effect looks like within the effects browser. If you had a voiceover within this project and you applied alien, it would change your voice to sound like an alien. A lot like those sort of voice filter effects that you have on phone applications today. Let's drag this over the top of our audio within this timeline. Now, of course, this is music, so this is going to sound quite strange. Let's press play. Very strange and very strange. That's the word I have for that. In order to remove an effect from a piece of audio, you can do the undo action, which is Command and Z, but let's say you've applied this and made a lot of changes since. You can select the piece of media. It will then populate in the inspector. Of course, this is an audio, and you want to go underneath, scroll down until you see the effects being applied. You can change the amount of this effect. You can also change the type of alien you have, for example, Martian or Mooncat. You can turn it on, toggle it on and off. Or with the effect selected within the inspector window, with that yellow box around it, you can press backspace or delete. You have now successfully removed that effect from that piece of media. Let's apply a transition to complement the effect within this piece of media. A lens flare, a bloom might do. If we can turn down the bloom, we can do it on both sides. Now, dropping the transition in the middle of the clip will apply the transition on the beginning and the end of the clip, making 2 points from point A to point B. As you can see, that has now been applied. You can also toggle the effect accordingly. On some transitions, not all of the transitions will have much controls. Some of them will literally just be toggling the fade in and fade out type. And of course, rendering these changes will allow you to see it within the timeline. Having problems selecting there. And render selection. Notice how I've begun to render certain things within the timeline, so you can begin to see how to render things manually. This is purposely done throughout each lesson as we progress, so that you can get used to what rendering is like manually within Final Cut Pro 10. As I do advise that setting this to a manual render, as it does help for the workflow of your project rather than getting backed up with your CPU because you're having to work on every single change, also bloating your project. Now that rendering has been done and you can see that there's no dotted line above the media, let's press play beginning from the first clip here in order to see what this looks like. You can see that the stories began to come together. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Anthony Allen. Hit subscribe so you can keep up to date with me here on YouTube. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if it's been helpful to you or you've learned something new.